What is up, guys? My name is Ryan World Movies, and this is going to be my review of the biggest action movie of the year that is not a Marvel movie, or DC movie, or Disney movie, or a Mission Impossible movie for that matter, and it's already miles better than the other racing movie that we got earlier this year.
Let's race!
And that movie is Gran Turismo. Both based on the racing simulation game of the same name and of the true story of Jann Mardenborough, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name correctly. The film tells the story of how a young adolescent teenage boy becomes a professional race car driver, just through his skills of playing the game Gran Turismo, which, believe it that you will, this actually happened. So in terms of first impressions of this movie, and just by looking at its poster alone, going into this, I thought it was going to be, one of those widely acclaimed and cinematically astounding movies up for so many awards and such. Yeah, I actually thought it was going to be, the Ford v Ferrari of this year, or at least Columbia Pictures' answer to Ford v Ferrari, and Gran Turismo being on par to that movie. But long story short, it's not. At least as an overall movie, it's not on that level of Ford v Ferrari, nor is this movie, cinematically groundbreaking or anything like that, like what Top Gun Maverick was. But honestly, at the same time, it didn't need to be, nor do I think that they intended to be so anyways. And secondly, I think this film has its own style of, making a racing movie like this. In fact, I would probably go as far as to say that this is probably the most modern day racing movie to be released today. And what I mean by that is that the technology that they used to film this movie, from the camera work to the sound to the special VFX, I don't think it was necessarily new by today's standards, but it is definitely the most updated and therefore the most advanced to be able to film a racing movie like this.
The Rialto is a detachable front end of the Sony Venice. Fiber optic cable goes to the brains, so you have the sensor up the front, and it makes it a very small unit, so we can put it in tiny places, which is ideal for cars.
So with that being said, the way that they filmed this movie, it really gave way for some really great and awesome action set pieces in this movie, or in this case, racing sequences. And it's probably the best modern day racing movie to take place in present day. When you're watching it, it is able to bring out great levels of intensity, and I genuinely, got plenty of rushes of adrenaline, pushing myself back against the edge of my seat, that you'll feel when you're watching the movie. The film does a really great job in bringing that out, which is what you want in a race car driving movie like this. But this movie, unexpectedly, actually also has a lot of heart and emotion put into it, as well. And like, this movie actually had emotional moments where you're able to actually feel for, empathize, root for, and understand each of the characters and their motivations, their backstory, and the development arcs as they go on throughout the movie, which I thought they were built up really well for the most part. Yeah, this was a surprise to both me and my dad when we went to see it, because for a movie that's based on a video game series, yeah, you wouldn't expect this level of emotion for these kinds of films, let alone video game movies. Yeah, it shows that this movie is more than just, a movie based on a video game series. Like, it actually has a plot that's not cliche or super basic, and it actually has depth behind it. So yeah, the acting in this movie was also really good. And the direction of this movie by Neil Blomkamp is also really well thought out and put together. And the use of music was also pretty unique for this movie too, in that it plays a major theme in the movie where Jann is always in dire need of slow music to help him relax, and to help calm him down, to help him focus and stay confident when racing, which made his character all the more relatable. And yes, according to the movie, this is what the real Jann Mardenborough also went through. However, as far as criticisms for this movie goes, I think my main one would be that for this movie, it has to dial down to its overall writing. Whilst I thought that overall, as an overall movie, the story was great, like especially for a video game movie, it's really good. But one that's based on a real-life person's life and based on the video game series, I just find that the writing was pretty inconsistent, in that it starts off with being, about a movie inspired by the Gran Turismo games themselves, and then it focuses on retelling the story of Jann Mardenborough's life. I just felt that at times, it lost its essence of what made Jann a racer in the first place, which was, the Gran Turismo games which he played as a kid, since he was a kid, or for it up to the point where it almost forgot that it was still based on the video game series until the very end. Yeah, sure, there's video game style visual references throughout the movie where it shows the position of each of the racers, like in a typical racing game, but that's pretty much it, really. It's after, Jann gets into the GT Academy. And as a retelling of Jann Mardenborough's life, there actually is some controversy behind it, apparently. Specifically the part where a big crash involving him happened in the movie, as it did in real life too, where it ended up killing one person in the spectator stands, but the time and place in the movie that it took place in, yeah, that's where the controversy comes in, man. Because in the movie, the way it was used to act as a climactic scene in order to motivate the main character to get back up, get back into racing after he's gravely injured and he's dealing with the ramifications and guilt of being responsible for killing that said person. Yeah, that's where I understood where the controversy was coming from. However, I read this up after watching the movie, so when watching that scene for the first time, it made my heart stop in suspense, man. Which, yeah, the movie did its job in bringing out those emotions within the audience. I mean, you have to find that ground where you have to find that motivation to motivate the character to get back up after a climactic scene like this. But yeah, the way that it's placed in this story structure can be a cause for concern depending on how you would take it. But overall, whilst this movie wasn't exactly as cinematically groundbreaking as I thought it would be, there was some issue with sometimes inconsistent and questionable writing and overall story structure. Still, this movie surprised both me and my dad, a lot. From the racing action sequences, the overall plot as a film, the acting, the emotion, and direction of this movie, and the heart. You can clearly see the heart that's put into this movie. These were the highlights of this movie that really drive this movie into becoming arguably one of, if not the best racing movie of modern day, especially with the way it was filmed.
I mean, the speed these cars are going, the heads we're not using fully stabilised. It's very raw, very gnarly, especially the nice stuff in the rain. It's very aggressive, raw looking footage is great. I think it will be a fantastic up on the big screen.
And yeah, which ends up making this, one of the best video game live action adaptations in cinema right now, depending on how you will look at it. I'm gonna go ahead and give Gran Turismo a 7.8 out of 10 and a B+, for me outshining, presumably, arguably, even though I still haven't seen it, Fast X. Let's race! Alright guys, so that's gonna be my time for my movie review of Gran Turismo, but my important question for you guys, have you seen the movie? If so, what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments below, or if you haven't seen it, also let me know why. Let's get these discussions going in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you can tune in for more videos like this where I cover movie reviews on this channel. You can even check out the playlist of all the movies I review for this year in the description below as well. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Rhinos, roll out, take care, and good night. Let's race!